Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
All right. Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. I'm very pleased to have Jaime Munoz with me here today. Jaime is the managing director at Cahoots. Is it pronounced Cahoots?
Yeah. Cahoots.
Okay, Cahoots. Where he builds meaningful connections, amplifies diverse voices, and fosters a culture of value and inclusion. He enjoys public speaking and is committed to driving positive change within the community. He does this partly through coffee. We'll have to talk about that. And he shared a great line he lives by, which is growth and comfort cannot live in the same room. Welcome to the show, Jaime.
Thank you so much, Tim, for having me here. I very happy to be here. A little bit nervous, but I'm very thankful to be here. So thank you.
Excellent, thank you. So let's start with coffee.
Yeah, I actually worked in that world for about 8 years. I started out at Dutch Bros, just as like a regular what they call broistas. So I worked at the number one store in the country, doing about 14 to like 18 grand a day in sales, just in coffee sales. When I started, there was about 28 to like 30 of us employees. And when I left, there was about almost 80 of us employees that worked out of one 400 square foot stand. So I did that for a while, which was a lot of fun, right? But you learn a lot about business and efficiency and customer service and also like the art of coffee, but not like making coffee art, right? It's just very different than that.
Okay, as a nerd, I'm gonna ask you to dive into that in a second. But I imagine, with that much throughput and stuff, there's a lot of business lessons there to have to manage a crew in a tight spot and to stock things and to have efficiencies and whenever there's teams like that, management and stuff.
So there was a lot of us. I wasn't the manager. I just was like a team lead there. But every time that we were on shift, there was about 18 of us that worked at one time, right? Like we were a machine. Our goal was 33 seconds per car, right? Because we were so busy. We had 2 lines going at one time. And I think I had realized that, I obviously love coffee, but the amount of joy that people get from being at a coffee shop or just from like having a cup of coffee is a lot. And so if you can get people to smile before they take their first sip of coffee, which is the thing that I learned, right? They like, what they don't realize is that the endorphins that are going to their head because of the coffee, they're like, how do I say it? Attributing it to being at Dutch Bros, right? So I learned just a lot of tricks about the coffee world. I loved it. They're wonderful. Right after I left that, I went to go work for Dutch Bros corporate in Oregon. So I moved to Oregon to work for headquarters, and I did all their backend system sales for online ordering, which is really cool.
Okay, so another little glimpse behind the machine. Okay, and so
yeah, absolutely.
And how was that?
And honestly, sorry, go ahead.
How was that? How was it?
Honestly, it was very wonderful. I don't think people realize that they are a phenomenal company from like top to bottom. They have a lot to offer. Back then when I worked there was like 200 of us employees. We were in a small town in Oregon. The town wasn't for me. The job was phenomenal, but I left because of the town. But the founder, absolutely incredible. The company itself, like they just know how to take care of their people. They actually just relocated their headquarters out to Scottsdale.
Oh, really?
Just this year.
Okay. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So let's dive back into the coffee details for a second. I don't know if I'm a coffee wuss or what, but I think I like the less bitter one. I think it's called a ristretto.
Yeah.
So when you're in a stand like that, is it kind of like some of those places where everything's automated?
No, so that's more of like a Starbucks world. They have it very automated. We're still pulling our shots ourselves manually.
Really?
I mean, we were. I don't know about now. I would imagine that they are now. But yeah, so a ristretto shot actually just means like restricted, so it's shorter, so it's not as potent,
Right.
and that's why you probably like it.
Well, I heard there's different ways of doing it, right? You can extract at the same pressure just for less time,
Totally.
or you can compress it a little harder and do it for the same time, or vice versa. I forget the nuances. I'm not a barista.
Yeah, I mean, there's just ways to make it a lot shorter or a lot longer if you want it to be just a little bit more like darker, more bitter.
Right.
But I mean, we had a huge standard that like that is one thing about Dutch Bros that is awesome. Is like their standard is top notch. You know, they only
Okay.
serve the best stuff, which is
Nice.
awesome.
Okay, you said you went somewhere else after Dutch Bros for coffee though, didn't you?
Yeah, so after Dutch Bros, when I came back home, I announced I was coming home, and the owner of a coffee shop called Elevate Coffee up at I-17 in Happy
Yeah,
Valley
I've been
and
there. That place
Roterra.
is cool. That place is cool.
Yeah, I used to manage that place for about 3, 4 years.
Okay.
Phenomenal.
They
If you ever
roast
meet
it
the
there
owner,
on site,
Troy,
don't they?
yeah, they do. So Troy, the owner, is an absolute gem. He is still one of my favorite mentors that I have.
Okay.
That is a phenomenal company to work for.
Okay. Okay. But phenomenal, but not your final rest landing spot. You're still growing,
No,
you and moving on.
yeah. So, so then from there, right, I I took a step out and I went back into the corporate world. I worked for Cigna. I didn't really like it, right? Then Troy called me again and said, "Hey," he said, I'm partnering with this guy, right? Which is I want to say names, but and we're opening up a restaurant in Levine. And the reason why I'm not saying a name is because it did not end very well.
Okay.
So after at the restaurant, as it was opening up, we were doing like all the build outs for it. You know, it was going great. We started a coffee cart in front of the brick and mortar. It was on 35th Avenue in Levine or 35th Avenue in Southern. So
Okay. Okay.
not like the
Not a hip booming area
thriviest,
per se. Yeah.
yeah, thriviest area. And so I actually hired my sister to come work for me, and we would go out there every day at like 5 in the morning and get the coffee cart all set up, and we would be outside, like in the dark, in the cold, and it just was like, what am I doing? You know, this isn't like I was very committed. I was there for about 6 months. I was doing that every single morning, right? I was opening up the coffee cart, and we were doing well. For it being just like a cart, we were there for like 5 hours a day, and it was doing well. But one of the like main person and I just were not on the same page, and that's okay,
Okay.
right? Like we're just not meant for everybody. And
Sure.
so, but in the midst of that, right, as I was leaving, I told a customer and I said, "Hey, I'm actually like I'm leaving. I don't know what's next for me, but I do know that like I have to go, right?" And she said, "Hey, I have some friends that are hiring for a community manager at a co-working space. Would you be interested?" And I said, "Yeah, like that sounds great. Let me know." So she sent me over the job description, and I told my partner, I said, "I don't think I'm qualified for this job." And he said, "You are the only one standing in your way." He said, "Please just like move out of your own way." And so I did. I applied. I had 3 interviews, and I landed the job, which was
Nice.
awesome. It just wasn't what I was. It's like it is what I was used to. I can build a lot of community, a lot of culture, that kind of stuff I can do, but I didn't
Okay.
really know how to run like a business, you know. Um, and so that's how I started here about 2.5 years ago now.
And you're digging it. You're still there.
I'm loving it. Yeah, I just got promoted to managing director, which is awesome. So we opened up a second location in Mesa, Arizona, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Uh, Mesa
That
could
must
still
have had
use
some COVID
some love.
challenges.
Yeah, and actually, it's been in the works for the past. Well, it was in the works for like 5 years, and then of course, with COVID and all that stuff. So we opened up in September this September will mark 2 years. So we've been open
Okay.
for just over a year and a half.
22. Okay.
Yeah, and it's going well, but it still needs a lot more love right now. And by that I mean just a lot more community. The space itself is very beautiful, very, very beautiful. But our Phoenix location, we actually are the first ones in Phoenix to start co-working. So it's been here for 14 years,
Oh, wow.
which is awesome. And we have about 150 businesses that operate out of our spaces right now, which is great. So we have a huge community here.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. And I can see you just, we're gonna, promote Cahoots real quick. You're in a podcast room there, it looks like. You have all sorts of facilities there.
Yeah, so we actually have 3 conference rooms. We have a podcast studio. We have a giant classroom here. We have the exact same stuff actually in our Mesa location as well. We have 19 offices. We have about 45 permanent desks and then like hot desks as well. Um, right now in Phoenix, we have a waiting list for our offices, which is an awesome problem to have, right?
Yes,
very cool.
for sure.
But in Mesa, right, I do have the openings. I also sit on the board for what's called Arizona Co-working Alliance, and there's like 12 of us co-working operators that all meet together every single month that are all local. And that way, right, because I'm full in Phoenix, I can point somebody in the direction of another local spot as opposed to like the big wigs. Um, not to harp on them, right? But if we can keep it in the state, like in the community, absolutely,
Sure.
that's our goal.
Okay, excellent. Well, that's a great example of getting uncomfortable to grow, is taking that position. And I'd also say that there's a ton of stories of some of the most successful people ever pivoting and giving up, failing or not, or just sort of going, what, this isn't going fast enough, it's not scalable, it didn't work out the way I thought, and moving on to the next thing. And some, right, Richard Branson, all these people with all these companies, they started, they failed and pivoted and failed and just kept.
Totally.
It's that classic, you can't fail if you or you don't, you don't lose if you don't quit, right? You just keep going and
right.
fail forward, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So actually our motto here is like, we want to help you launch, fail, and scale, right? Because that's just a part of being an entrepreneur. That's a part of starting something new. We know that it's like embedded in you. The odds are that you won't be successful at first, right? But then you fail, and then you scale from there, right? Like, what's the next step? How do we grow from here? So it's that for us is huge.
Okay. You also mentioned that you are like to do public speaking now. Can you speak to that whole endeavor?
Yeah.
How did
So
that
actually,
start and all that?
so it's more of like I love to public speak. Like, I tell myself that I love to public speak, so that way I public speak, if that makes sense. So
Sure.
when I was a kid, I found out when I was in 4th grade. This is kind of like a sad story, but like great. I found out that I went home one day. I told my mom that my teacher would never call on me to read out loud in class, and it made me super sad. And I had no idea why. Long story short, I found out that week because my mom was very upset. She went to the school, right? We had a conversation. I have a speech impediment. I stutter, and I ended up taking 8 years of speech therapy all throughout school, which was huge for me, right? I've had probably like 4 therapists out of the 8 years, and everyone was always so surprised that I was so bubbly and so like active, and that I wanted to keep pushing through, and that I had a lot of friends. And so uh, most of them thought that I would be like very quiet, very reserved, that it'd be hard to land a job, it'd be hard to be in front of people, that I probably should not speak, and I just did not want to believe that. And to this day, I'm 31. It gets in the way of my thoughts all the time, where I'm like, yeah, I
Still.
can't do that. I can't do that. Like, I should not do that. I should not be on a podcast because I talk funny, right? And I those are the things that like we tell ourselves, and we believe whatever we tell ourselves. So
Right.
if I do the opposite and say, yeah, I love public speaking because I honestly do love it,
Yep.
I just get scared of being so vulnerable, and then people seeing like one of my what what I used to think was a big flaw, right? Now I think of it as an asset. But so yeah, I enjoy people. I love people. I love speaking, but I also need to push myself to
Sure.
be there.
Again, it's hard to, was it nothing grows in the comfort zone or something like, yeah, same.
Yeah, that well, so growth and comfort don't live in the same room.
Right.
That is a thing that I truly believe, right? Like if you're uncomfortable, that's when you're growing, right? Right, for most situations.
So, how do you approach learning new skills, especially those outside your comfort zone?
Well,
Well, we talked about visualization, right? And then, the thoughts we tell ourselves.
yeah, I like to ask questions. Um, I think I learn very quickly to where I don't need like a lot of instructions or directions, but when when I don't understand, I'm not afraid to ask a question, say, hey, like I need help, or also like find somebody that knows the answer as opposed to just like wasting my my time on things that like that I'm just truly not grasping. Um,
Okay.
is that what you mean by that?
Sure. Yeah, there's different approaches to overcoming challenges. What sort of some people want to struggle by themselves for a long time, and other people are like, why would I do that? Why do just
Yeah, that is
leverage
not me.
someone else's knowledge?
You know, I just think that like there's no way I can learn everything. That's just
Right.
not possible. I mean, there's a lot to learn, but if there are people out there that know something a lot more than I do, why wouldn't I ask them for advice, thoughts,
Right.
help? I'm just a huge believer in that. That's also how you build community, and that's how you find your mentors, right? Like that to me is huge.
Yep, 100%. Again, that's kind of why one of the reasons why I started this podcast is networking, right? And that's how we solve problems is using all the resources available, including other people's knowledge and networks. So, can you share like maybe a book, podcast, or a mentor that significantly influenced your outlook on health, wealth, or success?
Yeah, one of my favorite books is called Lead with Love, and it's I don't blank on the author, but it's about Southwest Southwest Airlines, and how they love their employees, and they believe their employees first before they believe their customers, right? Like they just want their employees to feel like they truly matter. Every time I read that book, I don't know why it takes me like 2 hours to read it, 2.5 hours to read it. I get very emotional because it makes me realize that there's people out there that also
Right.
genuinely want to like love on their people, which is huge.
Right.
And
Not a common
so that
value
book right
for a
there.
while in American industry. The corporate world
All
was,
right.
customer comes first or sort of thing. They just throw their people under the bus.
No, absolutely. And it also talks about how they ask their employees for not really advice, but like thoughts and ideas and strengths, right? That like ways for them to save money. Like there was a talks about how they asked all the flight attendants, "Hey, is there an idea out there for us to save money?" And there's a guy that said, "Yeah, I think we don't need our logo on trash bags." Right? And that saved the company. I believe they said 200 grand a year, which is huge, right? Like it's so small, but it just was
Right.
an idea that came from their own people. So I love that book, that one for
Right.
sure. And then,
I was just going to
sorry,
say
go ahead.
Southwest is a very special company. It was a great story. They've done all sorts of great stuff over the years. Did they like are they the
Totally.
only airline that grew over COVID somehow or something too?
Oh, I don't know that answer.
Okay. Anyway, yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
have
don't know.
a lot of unique stuff. Okay, so you're
Yeah.
going to mention another maybe book or something?
Yeah. So, for mentorships, I have two that I just absolutely love. So first is Troy, the owner of Elevate Coffee up north.
Mhm.
He's been just like a massive influence in my life. When I was looking for apartments, he went out on his own to find apartments, like just to have um, like the areas for me and you know all the amenities for me. And I thought that was very kind of him. But he that kind of stuff for him was very normal. But what he did that most people don't know how to do is like push back on like my thoughts or like my ideas. And so just because I'm a very nice guy, I think that I am. A lot of people don't like to push back or don't like
Challenge you.
to challenge the way that we think or what I'm saying. I'm like, and so for him, right, he was very good at that. My
Nice.
partner also very good at that.
Okay. A
You
good
know,
leader
and
will push you. Yeah.
totally. So he is phenomenal at that. And then the other mentor that I absolutely love is my current boss, Odin, right now. I I just like he has this magnetic force that I just want to be around him, that he has so much knowledge. Um, I mean, they started this company from the ground up with no one else that was doing it, right? It just
Mhm.
was like I mean, it had existed outside of Arizona, but they didn't know it had existed yet. But he is just like a bank of knowledge. Has a huge heart, loves to give back, loves to help. If I'm having a hard day, would take me out for a beer after work and just like chat about what's going on, what I need to grow right in that moment. He also is another one that loves to push back on things that I say, which again
Okay.
is like frustrating, but also really needed though.
Right. Sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. And we talked a little bit earlier briefly about environment and surrounding yourself with the right people, and, right, particularly who are growth minded. Right. We are the product of the five closest people to us.
Yeah,
If one of them starts exercising or if they all start, mountain biking, odds are significant that you will start mountain biking, right? If
totally,
they if they all gain 100 pounds, odds are pretty good you're going to gain 100 pounds.
totally. Yeah, so I actually feel very lucky because right, we spend most of our time at our offices, at our jobs. And so for
Mhm.
me, I'm surrounded by all small businesses, all nonprofits, all entrepreneurs. I'm surrounded by people that are trying to grow to like be better
Right.
than what they currently are. So for the majority of my days, my week, I'm around these people. And a few of them actually are like awesome friends of mine now, and there's still like a border where I have to be aware that there's still members and clients, right? And
Clients, for
I'm
sure. Sure.
still, but for the most part, I have two that I absolutely just love being around. Uh, we go for runs all the time together. We work out together, right? It's
Right.
like those are the
Yep.
people that I'm surrounding myself around, and he actually owns a bunch of apartment complexes in California and in Utah, which is really cool, right?
Okay.
But he does so well for himself, and I'm like, yeah, I just get so attracted to the the he's further along in life than I am. And I'm like, yeah, I
Sure.
want that. Like I want to be around that. And
Sure.
then
Sure.
also my partner is incredibly smart. He is a program manager for a college scholarship foundation for first generation college kids. And
Okay.
he actually so he oversees the study abroad program. Um, and he lives in Italy for like 7 to 8 months out of the year, which is
Nice.
wild. He's also in his master's program at Georgetown University, and so he is working extremely hard right now, which is great. And so
I bet.
I feel also like very lucky to be like pushed by him, right? And like what we're doing in our lives, like we're both growing,
Okay.
which is
Yeah.
huge.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what is your goal in the sense of well, so this is Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, right? So what is your goal in for that growth, right? Do you have an idea or a plan for legacy plan or business plans in the future moving forward? Yeah.
This is like, how do I say my goal is to take over Cahoots. So Odin and Jenny, they've been doing it now for about 14. They're going on their 15th year. I know that they're ready to take a step back, and I'm like, yeah, I I want to take it on, right? I want to help out. I want to keep going. Right now I see a huge challenge for our Mesa location. It's not doing very well, and that for me is like I love to hear that kind of stuff, because then I'm like, oh, cool, I'm gonna go fix it for us then, right? Like
Okay.
I love that kind of challenge, and so I just got promoted again like a month ago. I'll be here for a while. I really enjoy what we do, and then I also I would love to help open up a third location out in the West Valley, and then one in like North Phoenix, like the Ontario area.
Okay.
Um, that I think is what's next for us.
Okay.
Don't quote me though, right? Everybody like, but
Yeah, that's
yes,
cool.
I will be here for a while. I love what I do.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Now reflecting on your journey, what do you wish you knew about building wealth and success earlier in your career?
You know, Good question. If you don't come from money, people don't teach you how to manage money, where it's at, how to find it. Like there's just a lot of options out there. I used to have 5 grand in Vanguard, and then it just like sat there, and I thought like it was good. It just was like I was doing something right, and like I was, but I went through a program called Third Decade, which they are an awesome organization, and we can chat about that soon. But through it, they give you a financial advisor. And so when she saw that I had the 5 grand in Vanguard, she was like, "Oh, like why is this money here? What's it doing? Like just like isn't it supposed to be there, right?" And she said, "Your money won't make any money for you un, unless you tell it to." And I had no idea. I thought that if it was already in the hands of Vanguard, it was doing what it was supposed to be doing.
Right. Right.
And so I had it for 3 years, and I think it made like $3, right? And now in the past, so this just happened a year ago, where she said, "You need to put it to work." And now I made $1,000 on it just in the past year by
Right.
doing absolutely nothing, and it just sat there. And I just wish, I
So,
think that more people, I mean, I didn't know that, right? My parents did not grow up in that world either, right? So like they had no idea. And I didn't know who to ask. And so again, the
sure.
mentors, huge. And that is one thing that I wish that I knew sooner, that I wish more people knew, right? Is to put your money to work if you
Yes.
can.
Yes, yes, I didn't. That's kind of why I got into investments about 10 years ago, because I started realizing I had my money, but in this places where I thought I was supposed to, and realized, oh, these returns are pretty crappy, and I
Yeah,
had to educate
so
myself.
sad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean,
So
this
actually,
is for our viewers. This is June 2024. The market's done well over the past 12 months, so
yeah.
most things are up right now from where they were a year ago, but. Yeah, there's all sorts of different investment asset classes out there. And like your friend who does apartments, that's what I do now.
Oh,
I
nice.
did predominantly real estate stuff, alternative investments, and I focus largely on value add apartments. We are developing some build to rent townhome communities here in Phoenix, but we also just today signed a PSA for another apartment complex in Tennessee. So different markets,
Wow.
different stuff. But okay,
Nice. Very
so
cool.
thank you, thank you. What's one piece of advice you'd give to someone aiming to achieve similar success?
There's a program, a nonprofit called Third Decade, right?
Third decade.
Yeah. So what they
Okay.
do is they target 18 to, I think they just update. I think it's 18 to 32 year olds, 18 to 28-year-olds, one of the two. I would look into it. But what they do is their whole philosophy is if you don't come from money, right? They don't teach you about it. So it's a 2-year program. It's completely free. And the first year you go through 4 classes and you learn about stocks and bonds, how to buy a house, how to invest in your IRA. Like they go through everything that like you probably should know, but if your parents don't know it, then you're not going to know it, right?
Right. Yep.
Huge helpful, right? And then
schools don't teach you, right?
Totally, right? So then after year 1, they give you $500 to invest in an IRA, which is awesome, right? So not only is it free, then they give you $500 to invest. And then year 2, they give you a financial advisor, and they go through everything: your car debt, your phone, your school, all your credit card debt. Like they want to see everything, and then they make a plan for you to get out of debt, right? They talk about like the snowball effect and how there's multiple options in that realm. So for anybody that doesn't know where to start, that would be a wonderful place to start. And so again, so after year 2, they give you another $500 to invest in an IRA, which is phenomenal. So again, it's a free program, 4 classes, and then you get an advisor, and then you get all the $1,000 to invest in yourself in your future, right? And just
excellent
to put away. So that would be one thing that I would want people to know, that there's things out there there's things and people out there that want for you to succeed.
Excellent message for sure. That's nice. Okay, well, thank you, Jaime, for joining me today. Thank you for watching. For our listeners who want to learn more about you or connect, where can they find you?
So my office is on 3rd Street in Indian School. We are called Cahoots. My email address is Jaime@cahoots.com, JAINE for those that don't know. And that would be the best way. Yeah, I'd love to connect. Once I email you, there's like a link in there that says like if you want to chat or if you want to hang out, just click this link and then it takes you off my calendar. So that'd be like the best way to do it.
Okay, excellent. Well, we appreciate you sharing your story and your insights today. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it.
All right.
Enjoy today. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Inspired by our guests? Visit PhoenixProsperityPodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.